3 tips to creating accessible social media content. These 3 tips are from a much longer webinar that I filmed just recently for creating accessible content in general, websites, social media, general tips that can be used on both, that can be used with sharing documents, sharing emails, Google Docs, just sharing information, data, tables, text. There's a lot of tidbits that can really help you, and I kind of moved through them pretty quickly because I talk pretty quickly. So we did have that video available for free for a limited time. Now it lives in our digital ministry training hub, where we have tons and tons of other trainings, videos, answered questions for how to better use social media and websites to help further your cause, whether that's a nonprofit, a ministry, or just sharing hope and healing and light in the world in some way. We are here for you. That's why we exist. If that sounds of interest to you, subscribe, because we're going to keep making helpful content as we've done for years now. So again, our digital ministry training hub is linked below to help you maximize your online impact. But let's get to the 3 tips for social media that I took away specifically from that webinar for you. Number 1, include more information in your captions. I'm a video editor. I own a video editing company along with my work with Digi, and so I see and help with a lot of captions for a lot of different video content. Great. Love to see you making captions. I think that's a great first step. This tip is so that you can start including more information in your captions. Not just the words that are being said, but also anything related that needs to be understood by someone that cannot hear. Whether they actually cannot hear, maybe they are deaf, or maybe they're just in the doctor's office and they can't play the video out loud, and that's fine too. Either way, you want to make this video accessible to these people. And so if there's music playing, describe the music in part of your caption. This might not happen in your captions app if you use a captions app, so this might be something manual you need to do, but it's worth that extra step to give someone the full experience of that video. This doesn't just apply to the music in the videos either. This is also any noises that seem related. If someone's listening to something, there's just something going on in the background, include that. Just take a quick second and add it to the video during that portion so that someone, again, that is watching the video without all of the audio experience can still get the full experience of that video. That's tip 1. Tip number 2, capitalize the first letter of each word in a hashtag. Now I know this doesn't really matter when you use hashtags for the way that they are used, which is to connect other people, right? So you click the hashtag, whether or not there's capitals in it, it's gonna get you in the same place, but for someone using a screen reader, it makes all the difference. Now, if you're pasting like 30 hashtags in Instagram, you might not need to actually worry about this. Where this matters most is maybe on Facebook when you just have 2 or 3 hashtags, or even on Instagram if you're just including a couple, or you really want someone to read the hashtag. It's part of the joke, it's part of the caption. In that case, yeah, capitalize the first letter of each word so a screen reader can read it out to someone. It doesn't just sound like a long string of mush. Last but not least, tip number 3, if you're creating short form videos, which a lot of us are on social media these days, and you are answering a question, maybe you have it pop up like on TikTok when we like to answer comments that people leave or respond to comments people leave on Instagram. Make sure you repeat what is written in that text blob. Yes, it's super wonderful and great that you have the text there so that people can see what you're responding to, but someone that cannot see the screen as well needs to know, so why not just reiterate? So for example, if this was a social media short form video and I was responding to a question that asked me how to create accessible social media content, yeah, like that. So instead of just talking my answer to the question and saying my first tip for this is blah blah blah, I would repeat it and say, how to create accessible content on social media, here are my best tips, or 3 tips to create accessible content on social media, or my first tip to creating accessible social media content is blah blah blah. So just rephrase the question. So like any good interview, any good answer, rephrase the question before you get started. That will make it accessible for people who cannot read the blob. So those were 3 great tips for social media accessibility, but certainly not all the tips that I have. I included so many more in our webinar. If you're interested, comment below or just click the link into the hub. Dive in. Not only will you get that webinar, but you'll get so many downloadables, a full course, and the ability to ask us any future questions you have and get a response via video personally from us. We'd love to have you in there. Thanks for watching. Now go make some accessible social media content.